Hello, everybody. My name is Lauren Wild, and I am your embodied astrologer and high priestess guide into divine feminine initiation. I'm super excited to let you guys know about my most polished and refined offer I've ever made. And the truth is that this offer has known many names over about 8 years of doing this work. It was known as the apprenticeship. It was known as the facilitator training. It was known as the threshold, the awakened method, the sacred architect, the quantum architect, Somagick. And finally, over the past 6 months, I've really been sitting with wanting to merge and synthesize my work into one flagship offer. Problem is, I just couldn't figure out how to take this big work and, kind of feel like I was shoving it into this container that couldn't hold it all. So I've spent all of 2026 so far, it's June of 2026, really sitting with how I could synthesize all of these offers down into one beautiful, most signature offer of mine. And I'm so excited to tell you about it. It's called Somagick. My method is called the Somagick method. It's truly a signature method that I have channeled through various different programs and offers. And it is my body of work. And I'm really excited to be able to share it. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, really and truly, the truth that I think I've been feeling so deeply into lately, especially with some of my clients, is that I really think that women have forgotten or don't fully understand what it means to be feminine. And and I don't mean feminine in the way that modern, especially American culture talks about femininity. Like I don't mean aesthetics. I don't mean like being quiet or being nice or being good, or being the helper. Um, I don't mean like softness for the sake of like, not wanting to be too big. Um, I mean this more into the way of the divine feminine energy or even Mother Earth femininity. It's deeper. It's not patriarchal. It's not puritanical. It's not colonistic. It's not whitewashed. It's not this like packaged version of what is feminine that largely men that want to control women, especially adult women, and turn them into adolescent or prepubescent women. That they want to control this version of the feminine. They want us to submit, and the feminine uh, will not submit. I can't remember which poet I was reading it, but it said, like, the feminine will never submit because the creator will never submit to its own creations. And that just like hit me in such a way a few years ago when I read that. And that is very, very true. Women are not meant to submit. If you look to nature, Mother Nature, things get too far out of balance and she will create hurricanes, tornadoes. I don't know about you guys, but my house was destroyed by a hurricane when I was 10 years old. And it was literally like eviscerated. It got hit by a 20-foot tidal surge. And that's the version of femininity that we're talking about here, the wild, cyclical, and embodied feminine. I was telling my students today in class, my animal guide is the lioness. And I learned through mythology, through doing this work, that my mythology and my goddesses are is a two-faced Egyptian goddess known as Sekhmet and Bastet. And Sekhmet being the lion-headed goddess, she is the goddess of love and war and medicine and protectors of mothers and children. And she is like very fierce and rageful, but she is a loving mother. And her other face is Bastet, which is a domesticated house cat. And so femininity has been packaged. It has been sold to us as this submissive, quiet, good girl, does everything for everybody, doesn't ask to be, compensated. It's just a lot of free labor. And this offer this program, this container, Somagick, is meant to help female identified folks decondition themselves and reclaim their true femininity. And that means to be like nature, to be cyclical, to be intuitive, to live from a place of their deep intuition and self trust, to live in their sovereignty. And it takes time, it takes practice, because alongside this work of deep feminine reclamation and cyclical embodiment work is also going to come ancestral lineage repair, especially around mother wounding and early childhood conditioning and cycle breaking. So much of what we get into when we do this work is really trying to free ourselves from the things that have been passed down our lineage. And we need to find the balance between appreciating our ancestors that survived and got us here, and also freeing our lineage of the generational trauma and karma that they have shared by becoming cycle breakers and stepping in as the matriarchal line bearers, and breaking the cycles for the descendants that come. Okay, so what I really want to help people, female identified people, do is help them become connected to their own nature and therefore nature. So many people are disconnected from their intuition, their body. They don't know how to trust themselves. They don't know what centering or being grounded even means, because the foundation that they're on is shaky and it's somebody else's expectations and values and conditioning. So this is an invitation to really collapse out a previous identity, a previous belief system, a previous value system that's no longer aligned, and to build and anchor in a new reality, a new identity that is more aligned with the more sovereign and true soul version of yourself. So, being disconnected from our natural rhythms is one of the most powerful things that patriarchy did to women, and to teach us that we're supposed to behave like men. And men don't have cycling hormones, they have testosterone. It is the same every single day. It may change as they get older, but we have cycles that change 4 times in a 29-day period of time, which also corresponds to our moon, which changes every 2.5 days, and it has a lunar cycle of 29.5 days. So really learning through the lens of ancestral methods of tracking time and making purpose and making sense of things by looking to the broader lens of nature, such as the wheel of the year, the lunar cycles, and the planetary cycles. We use all that information to help us understand, who are we in the middle of this? Who have we been told we have to be? And who do we really want to be? And the support of the container is to help you identify those things and then also deconstruct them and reconstruct a identity and a reality that is aligned with what true femininity means to you. Okay. So like I said, we've been taught to constantly produce, to perform, to always be thinking, to always trying to achieve. You're lazy if you take a nap. You're lazy if you, sit and manifest and draw it and attract it to you. You're crazy, right? And instead, we are pushing through our intuition. We're pushing into exhaustion and burnout, and we're distrusting our body when it's sending us signals to help us heal. There is a saying going on in the feminine healing spaces that is like, be a bitch so you don't get an autoimmune illness. Because it's really true. When we live for everybody else and we rule our intuition and our body's signals, we get sick. And eventually our body will literally start to attack itself to keep it safe. So this whole invitation is an offering into some of the deepest truths that I've come to in this work. And that is, Mother Nature has always been our greatest teacher of what it means to be feminine. And if we want to understand feminine embodiment, we can't look to culture. We must look to nature, because nature is going to teach us something radically different than what modern society does. And that is, nature teaches us that everything happens in its season. and that life moves in cycles, and that there is no plant that births fruit year long. Nothing blooms year round. So winter is not trying to become summer, and the moon is not trying to make itself be full. The trees know when to release their leaves, and the ocean knows when to recede and when to pull or to come back in. The earth knows the natural seasons of death and rebirth, and women are wired to her in that way. But we have forgotten that we're built that way too. Our bodies are cyclical, our nervous systems are deeply intelligent, our intuition is meant to guide us. Our menstrual cycles have never been an inconvenience, only to patriarchy and consumer culture. All of these things have always been divine intelligence that live in our bodies. And we have somewhere along the way in patriarchy been taught to force instead of learning how to surrender and attract. So this is where I want to officially introduce Somagick. It's the most refined version of my body of work because it represents everything that I believe transformation really requires. And the words itself is exactly what we're going to do. Soma meaning body and magic meaning conscious creation. So this is a 6 to 12 month feminine initiation into embodied sovereignty, into trusting yourself, into trusting the cycles and seasons of the earth and the moon and the stars and the planets, and to learn how to do deep ancestral healing and reconciliation and repair to break actual cycles. We're going to also explore nervous system healing, shadow work, astrology, tarot, ritual, shamanic journey, all forms of feminine liberation. And it's by learning how to create a life through flow and force, but not through hustle and forcing. It's through attunement. So I want to invite you guys into this, knowing that if you've been living in a way that no longer feels sustainable, if you know that you are exhausted from carrying everything for everybody all the time, if you know that you're ready to stop living in your conditioning and what you've been told you have to do and who you have to be, and you're ready to start living from your soul self in your sovereignty, then I want to invite you into Somagick, because this is for the women, the female identified, who are ready for very profound transformation. They are the women that want to remember who they are and what they've always been connected to, these deep ancestral, rewilding ancient methods. This is for women who are ready to stop abandoning themselves. They're ready to stop performing. They're ready to take off the masks. They want to learn a new way to live that feels meaningful and sacred and attuned and off of this patriarchal, capitalistic, consumer-driven wheel. So I would love to invite you into this space. Classes are going to start in July, and our enrollment period opens up on Monday, June the 22nd, the day after summer solstice, and we'll carry on from then. I'm super duper excited to take you into this round of initiation, and I will see you on the inside. Please make sure that if you find this interesting, that you click the link to book a discovery call, and it's a free 30-minute discussion to tell you all about it, to talk about payment plans. I work with women and find ways to make the things happen. And also to discuss, any kind of questions or concerns, or like, am I ready for this? Am I the ideal candidate? Make sure you guys check out, the information here in this website page to see who this is ideal for. And I will see you in that discovery call and hopefully class. I hope that you guys have a great day and blessed be. Ciao.